Hey, how's it going, Bobby? How you doing?
I'm well, man. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. As we speak right now, 3 days out, WWE Championship match, Monday Night Raw, you and The Miz. Does this even feel real right now for you?
No, it doesn't. To tell you the truth, it feels it's one of those things where it was inevitable for me in my career to be at the point where I'm going to be going for the WWE Championship. I just didn't know when it was going to be. 17 years, gravel and scraping. Actually, 18 years if you count developmental and everything else. I knew that the opportunity was going to be there at some point in time. I just didn't know when. So when I found out that I was going to have this opportunity last week, man, it hasn't sunk in yet.
So you said last week, when did you start to hear those rumblings that something like this could be a possibility? Because on Sunday, less than a week ago, you were the United States champion. You show back up at Elimination Chamber less than 2 hours later to attack Drew McIntyre. You confront Miz the next night on Raw, WWE Championship match made official for Monday. Did you get the feeling while you were champion, or maybe even the last couple of months, because you've been on this absolute roll for months now, that you were kind of on the cusp of contending for the WWE Championship at some point, given how dominant you've been in recent months?
And MVP's been yelling in my ear for the last year that this is where I need to be. The beauty of the wrestling business is I knew when everybody else knew. I knew when I had my opportunity when everybody else found out. Like I knew that I was moving in the right direction. I knew that people were running for me. I knew that I was defending my title the best of my ability, and I didn't think that I was ever going to lose the United States title. But I knew that at some point in time that I was going to have the opportunity for that world title. So I didn't know when it was going to be, like I said, but it had to have been soon. And I knew that if it wasn't going to be this WrestleMania, it was going to be SummerSlam. It had to be soon because it couldn't be denied. I mean, I'm just knocking guys down left and right. And then as I started looking at the landscape of WWE, I was like, who is my competition here? Looking left and looking right, and that's a good point in your career when you look left and you look right and you don't see any competition. The only competition that you see is the ones that are standing above you. So that's when you knew that's the only direction you can go. I mean, Drew was there, Bray was there. Randy's still one of the top guys. Rome was over there at the head of the table. Brock is just running, doing whatever he's doing. So I knew that my only opportunity to have one of those big matches had to be up. So I knew that the world title was just right around the corner.
The United States Championship reign, you mentioned how the momentum's been kind of swinging in your favor for a while now. It was, really a culmination of everything from the genesis of the Hurt Business almost exactly a year ago, winning the U.S. Championship. And the last time that we spoke in August, you said exactly what you just said a minute ago, where you knew you were headed in that right direction. Was there any one particular moment where you're like, all right, not that I've made it, but I think even bigger and better things are right around the corner? Or again, was it really just a general sense of just keeping going onward and up? Like, was there any one match where you felt, okay, I'm turning a point in my career?
Yes. Well, not particularly one match. It was kind of like everything all together.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, when I came back, there was that time where it's a mental game. The wrestling business is a mental game on top of a physical game. So when I came back, I was like, there's going to be some things that are thrown my way. If I'm able to stand strong and keep fighting, then I can make it. And when I came back, there's a lot of things that I had to kind of like navigate around, kind of like grit my teeth and kind of like move forward. But I knew at those times, once you pay enough dues, then you start swimming right, you start moving right. But like I said before, the time that I knew is when I started kind of looking at the landscape of things. When me, MVP, and the rest of her business, we started putting pen to paper. We started looking at, the landscape of WWE. Who are our competition? Where are the people that we need to take out in order to get what we need to get? And at that point, we had to say, man, Bobby, you got to go for the title.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go for that WWE title. Because right now, you are way over a lot of these guys right now. And then the guys that are above you, you can beat them too. So why not go for it all? This is your time. And another thing is that I know that my career is not going to be a career where I have another 10, 15, 20 years in. Some of these guys do. So mine is kind of a sprint right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind that. I don't mind having to ramp it up a little bit because I don't have, like I said, 10, 15 more years. I have a few more years left. And with those few more years left, there's a lot of goals that I want to accomplish. So I got to go hard. And my body was able to take the abuse that I've given it, and I can keep going. So, I mean, I knew it was my time. This is my time.
Was MVP that last piece of the puzzle? And obviously you guys have been friends for a long time now. He only came back into the company about a year ago with the start of the Hurt Business, and really just right before that. Was he really being in your ear the last year, telling you you're way overdue for this type of opportunity? Was that really the last piece of the puzzle for you to get you where you are now going into Monday's Raw for the WWE title?
He's definitely an intricate part, because like one of my favorite quotes, and I keep saying, and I said on TV also, sometimes you have to believe in somebody else's belief in you. Mm-hmm. And even though I believed in myself, you always have that little, you have the devil on one shoulder, you have the angel on the other, and that one angel telling me, keep working. The harder you work, the luckier you'll get. You'll get there. But you also have that other little, that voice in the back of your head saying, man, is it? Man, let's go ahead and tie it up. We're done, man. You've been doing this too long. You're never going to get there. There's always going to be a different obstacle. You always have that voice. As much as we try to submerge that voice is always there. And I didn't listen to that voice for so many years, but at the time we had to just get that voice completely out of there. So when MVP came in, MVP was yelling so loud that I couldn't even hear that voice. It was one of those things that he was yelling at me, he was yelling at Cedric, he was yelling at Sheldon. And when he gets in your face and we start really in that, and that's a good thing about real friends, man, because real friends can tell you real, like when I'm doing wrong, when I'm not where I need to be, when I wasn't where I needed to be last year around this time. When he looked at me, he's like, what are you doing? You ever playing house when you're supposed to be over here winning titles? Booker came on an interview one time and he said the same thing. He said, what is he doing? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people were telling me that, what is he doing? But I wasn't making no moves towards it. Yeah. Now, when MVP got in and we started sitting down, we really started putting pen to paper. He was like, bro, you need to, and I hate to even say this, excuse my language, shit or get off the pot. Mm-hmm. It's time. You've been here for long enough. And everybody in the world knows what you're capable of doing. Everybody in the world knows that you can beat everybody in this business. It's you that's not doing it. Mm-hmm. So that's when everything switched, and we started coming out with a whole different mind frame and a whole different just stroke of confidence. When I walked to the ring, it's been so fun, man. I could talk all day about my journey, but when I come out of the curtain and I walk to that ring, man, I have so much confidence walking out there. Mm-hmm. Like no one can stop me. No one can stop me right now. I want to stand right in the face of anybody. I want to stand right in the face of Drew, Brock, Roman, The Fiend, Randy. I don't care who it is, Braun. I don't care who it is. Stand right in front of them and fight. Because, like I said, I'm heading to the finish line. And when I head to the finish line, I want to be in first place. I want gold.
And it's funny you mention that too. Like when you walk out to the ring, you have that confidence. That definitely shines through on TV. When you hear that music hit, something's about to go down. Like it's the final boss music. Like holy shit, here comes Bobby Lashley. It's incredible, dude. My girlfriend and I are big fans, and we met you at Access a couple of years ago, and she's become a big fan of you in the last couple of years since we met you. And hearing that music, it's all right. It was really cool. So like we hear that music. All right, dude, it's about to go down, and we're going to hear it on Monday during the WWE title match, which is cool. So like you said, when you came back 3 years ago, you've been back now for almost exactly 3 years. You've gone through a lot of stuff, ups and downs, everything in between. You got to feel more ready for this opportunity now, right? Having gone through the wedding stuff and the Lashley sister stuff. I think even just overcoming that stuff and proving, listen, I can deal with this, and then even overcome that, because a lot of people can't. Some people just take that and they just falter, and we never really hear, So with you, does it feel like that it's that much more deserved, having gone through that stuff, to find yourself where you are right now?
Yeah, because, a lot of times you got to show people stuff like that, because a lot of times when people come in, especially into our business, they come into there, maybe they have a background. Like I had a background. I took second in the world of wrestling. I was a 3-time college national champion. So I should be right there at the title, right? Mm-hmm. That's what everybody wants to believe. Some people come in and say, "Star, everybody loved me. I did the best flips. I did this. I did everything." But they're not where they need to be. And a lot of them do crumble, and a lot of them people just tuck their tail between their legs and walk away. I didn't, and I'm not going to. And so I think I'm showing a lot of these people that you have to stay in the fight because the fight's never going to be over. Even when you win titles, the fight's not over because when you win titles, you got to look back and there's still people coming
And I think
after you.
longtime fans of
So I think this.
Yeah.
So I think my story is just a great story to show people, and I try to tell people there's nothing that I've done in the WWE that I look down on because everything made me who I am now. Yeah. And everything that I've done is going to make me the champion that I am come Monday.
And it's going to make that moment that much greater. So it's going to be cool. Longtime fans of Bobby Lashley, the OG fans of Bobby Lashley know not only when you left WWE, over 10 years ago at this point, but the time that you spent in Impact for a few years there in the early 2010s, mid 2010s, where you became a 4-time world champion. The Bobby Lashley that we're seeing now was evident well even before you came back to WWE at that point. And MVP was with you for a decent amount of time at that point when you first won the world championship over there. How instrumental was that run in making you the main event monster that we're seeing from you finally now in WWE?
It does. It helps us tremendously because I think a lot of people once they, if you come into WWE and they say, hey, you're going to be the WWE champion, there's going to be some like uncertainties, insecurities because you come in there, you're like, man, can I carry that ball? Am I able to do it? Am I able to have those big matches with everyone? Because that's what you need to do as a champion. And when I was in Impact, I had those opportunities. I had Drew, I had Bobby Roode, I had Eric Young, I had Jeff Hardy, I had Matt Hardy, I had Eli Drake, I had all these guys to work with and I had great matches with all of them. So when I did, I was like, man, yeah, this is exactly where I need to be. Like, there's no question in my mind whether I should be on the top or not. Some people already know it. You see Roman walk out there at the head of the table. He can't even look down. His chin's so high up. Because he has that confidence because he's been in those matches with the Undertaker, with Brock, and all those different people. Same with Drew. Drew's the same way. Yeah. Drew can't even see people that are under 6'5", because he's so high up right now because he knows what he's capable of doing. And not everybody has that. Everybody thinks that until they get the ball.
Yeah.
But until you get the ball, you don't even know. But I know that when I get the ball, I can play, and we're going to score, and we're going to win. So I have all the confidence in the world. But you have to get there to get that confidence.
And of all the people that you faced during your time there that you mentioned that prepared you for this possibility, one name that I think you forgot to mention that I'm surprised you didn't mention, Kurt Angle. I mean, you faced Kurt Angle at one point in a world championship match, and that helped you get to where you are today. So I think if anyone thinks that you may not be a threat to The Miz, they got to go back and watch that match. But as we wind down here, Bobby, speaking of which, I mean, I guess just overall in your entire career, I was going to say the second stint in WWE, but really just overall, whether it be your first time in WWE, Impact, elsewhere, now in WWE, what are some of your favorite matches that you've had throughout all these runs?
Oh man, I can't even say that. Like, because if I start listing them off, I'm going to forget one or two. Like you said, yeah. I listed off those names, and I didn't even list the greatest names of them all. Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle's the one that got me into the wrestling business, and I didn't mention his. So I don't want to even start, but I'll throw stuff out. I could tell you one time there was a house show or a live event that we had with in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and it was an over-the-top battle royal. And after I threw out my last person, I turned around and standing across the ring from me was a big red machine, Kane. So you brought the little kid Bobby out. I was like, oh my God, this is Kane. That's a match that nobody's even seen. It was very insignificant, but for me, that was enormous to turn around and see that guy because I was a huge Kane fan forever. And even to this day, Glenn coming back, I see him, I'm like, man, that's so cool. Kane, it's one of those things because everybody has that wrestling story of when they were a kid, of somebody that they really just enjoyed and loved and everything like that. And he was my guy. But then also Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle was somebody that I admired. I looked up with because of his amateur wrestling career, but his professional wrestling career as well. And he was the one that got me into wrestling. And I had an opportunity to have a few matches with Kurt. So those are on the top of the list. Another one, Umaga, WrestleMania 23, having an opportunity to main event at WrestleMania, the greatest show in the world. Having that opportunity too, I could put that up there. Booker T, somebody that basically held my hand when I came up and showed me the business as a whole. Even some of the people today, have an opportunity again to be in the ring with Roman. Roman he's a star, man. Yeah, and everybody knows that. Cena, the match with Cena. And I could just keep going on. Finn Balor was incredible. There's just way too many matches. Finley, I regard as one of the greatest. I had an opportunity to spend a lot of time with him. JBL. I mean, I just keep going on and on and on. So I can't really say one match. I think all of it is just like it's almost like a dream for me. And when I retire, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to be like, holy, I was able to have all these matches and be in the ring with some of these great people, Rey Mysterio. I remember I was sitting down in the locker room not too long ago, and I'm sitting down in the locker room. We're just all joking around. It's like Undertaker, Rey Mysterio, and somebody else. And I had to sit there for a second and just kind of like, whoa. Like I could probably trade this seat right here for a lot of money to be able to sit in the room and just like jaw jack and just have fun and talk with some of these people. So man, my whole ride in the WWE and professional wrestling has been just amazing. I can't really think of any one point that I can say was one better than the other, because I'll always go back to Simon Dean having one of my first feuds and one of my first pay-per-views, eating cheeseburgers with Simon Dean. There's just been so many different things that I can say that have just been the pinnacle of my career and great matches and great people to work with. So it can go on and on.
Yeah, no, definitely. You log into Twitter after Raw on Monday. The entire timeline, Bobby, is saying Bobby Lashley for WWE Champion. Everyone is sharing that picture of you holding up the title at the end of Raw this week, saying it's just such an organic image. Like, why hasn't this happened already? Like I have never seen this groundswell of support, not just for you, but just literally for anyone. Like for anyone to become WWE Champion, it's incredible. What was that support been like the last couple of weeks from fans and maybe even colleagues alike?
I think it's been great, man, because, when like you said, when you open up Twitter and you start seeing that stuff, and when the match was announced, it was kind of one of those things where it's like, all right, you get your phone, you're like, let's see what they say about this. And then you click on it. Of course, you're going to have your naysayers, because the naysayers are always there. That's why the business stays around. And that's what keeps you working and keeps you working hard and keeps you humble. Because the people are, you suck. It's like, all right, I do kind of suck a little bit. Whatever. You just got to play with them. But ultimately, man, it just the support. I think a lot of people know that I have paid my dues. And when you talk about a champion, you talk about a WWE champion and everything that you put in there, I think I check all the boxes. I check the boxes of, can you send this guy around the world and this guy represents your company in a very professional manner? Man, if you watch Raw, we come in looking clean. The suits that I've been throwing together and the way that I walk, we're trying to steal the show without even wrestling. And then just what I bring to the table, a military background. I graduated college with honors, single father doing my thing and being able to train and fight and everything, every aspect of a champion. I check every one of those boxes, and I think everybody understands that. And even though I walk around and I do bad things, people know that I'm the man. And I have the opportunity to do some big things in this company, and they want to see it. And me winning that title, they look at all the fantasy matches that you can have for that title. Me and Drew, me and Brock, title for title against Roman. The Fiend's there, Randy's there. People look at all those matches, they're like, whoa, that seems kind of interesting. So I think everything is everything's right now. And I think people want to see it. I want to see it. I want to hold that title up and bring it home to my kids. So I think it's time. It's time, definitely.
It definitely is time. And hopefully we get that time on Monday when you face The Miz for the WWE Championship on Monday Night Raw. It's going to be super exciting, Bobby. We're all pulling for you. So thanks so much for the time, man. I'm a big fan and I appreciate it.
Right on, man. Anytime.